Hi gang, Rob here. It is the evening of 27 June 2016 and I've got a From the Sharpening Bench video for you all this evening on a really cool vintage Benchmade 940. This knife belongs to my new customer Sid Malis. He bought this knife from its original owner, we think. So he's the second owner, and when he got it, it was at 16 years of age, yes, made in the year 2000. It was still sporting a little bit scarred up, but still serviceable factory edge. So Sid wrote to me and asked if I could sharpen it for him. And you know I'm not going to ever miss an opportunity to sharpen a Benchmade 940 and get my hands on one of the very first ones. Back when the 940 was new, they did some of these limited production special color runs. This red one is actually one of two limited production runs in red. They did a 50-piece run. This is number 6 of 50. They also did a 100-piece run. Obviously, the 50-piece run knives are a little more rare than the 100-piece run knives. Has beautiful action. This is back in the day. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see down in here, but you're not going to see the glint of phosphor bronze as you look at the washers because they're Nylotron, the original dark gray Nylotron, sort of a very fibrous plastic material. Everything's nice and damped. If you open it slowly, you just have this nice little thud, and same on closing. Those Nylotron washers kind of suck up some of the noise and clatter. Super nice action. I just reassembled this pivot. The action was nice when I got it, but the pivot screw was very loose. I mean, it wasn't being held in place. It was finger tight, barely. It wasn't even finger tight. So I had to take it out and lubricate the knife, and then reinstall the pivot screw with Loctite. And when I do that, I always kind of set them up maybe just a hair tighter than they're going to end up, because I don't want them to develop play. So this knife is almost a free dropper with zero side play, and as it sort of breaks itself back in, I think it will drop perfectly freely and still not have any side play. The centering on this old girl, I don't know if you can see down in there, there you go. Really nice for a 940. Let's see if we can get a look at our Washington Monument tip. Sorry about my calloused hands, guys. That's what happens when you work for a living. Pretty nice. Those bevels came out really nice and symmetrical. So, Sid is an interesting guy. I'm not going to tell you the request he made before he sent this knife because it was a strange one. You could tell he is a knife addict. That's all I'm going to say. But when I got the knife, I was ready to work on it. And he had asked that I call him so we could talk about bevel angles and stuff, okay? And I don't get this request very much. Sid actually wanted, because although you can see this knife has been carried in its life, I think carried a lot more than it's cut, okay? And you know, the old BK1 coating isn't quite perfect on this old girl. But Sid made an interesting request. He wanted me to replicate the factory bevel angle as much as I could. You know, he didn't want me to lay this thing way back to make it a super slicer. He wanted to kind of keep it the same angle the factory used, but you know, just with a much more refined, precise, polished edge. So I checked the angle right in this section of the blade. It was 18 degrees per side. I could tell there was some funny stuff going on. You know, the bevel kind of disappeared to nothing at the tip. The tip was a little raggedy. At the base of the edge, one side was a little flared and kind of broad, and the other side had some recurve, and the bevel width got smaller as it approached the base. Well, notice this though, guys. No plunge or no choil enhancement, and look how straight that bevel is all the way back after I sharpened it. So here's what happened, I guess. The 18 degrees was probably really true right through here, and then of course it steepened at the tip as all 940s do. So when I sharpen at a fixed angle, the bevel broadens a little bit, but not much. Not as much as a lot of 940s do. So there's a lot of metal left on this blade from the factory. Notice how the beard is pretty long from the top of the choil to the cutting edge, even after a sharpening or two. Just a very nice 940 blade. I think they were generally a little nicer when the tooling was new and the sharpeners maybe were a little more skilled at Benchmade. But one other difference from a modern 940 is the blade steel, 154 cm. So you'd expect, wouldn't you, that 154 cm properly heat treated, even with a steepish angle, is a wicked silent slicing machine. That knife's never cut like that in its life, I'll guarantee you. Really cool. I just love to see these old survivors. Check this out, guys. Got the old style Parkerized Benchmade clip with the small font stamped Benchmade USA logo. Just got some nice edge wear on it. No big scratches or anything. Just what a great old knife. Oh, guys. What a sweetie. Now, I wish they'd do this again. I wish they'd do some different color anodized handles in aluminum rather than the G10 and carbon fiber stuff. I just love it. This goes in the 940 Hall of Fame on the TheApostleP channel. You bet it does. Just thought you'd like to see it before I send it home. That's all for this one. Congratulations, Sid Malis, on your new old 940. Use it well, my friend. That's all for this one. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the Word and Sid's 940 in red are sharp.